What's up guys, it's Manga Time once again, and I'm here today to bring you my review of Bleach 560, Rages at Ringside. And actually that chapter title is extraordinarily apt. Looking at it in hindsight, it kind of tells us the most important thing about the chapter, really. But also, you know, when I first saw it, indicated another Master Masculine chapter, and I was almost certain it was going to be him versus Rukia and Renji, to some extent. So, you know, it pretty much ends with how it pretty much starts with how the first chapter ended, with him looking at them coming down, and I was like, okay, he's gonna fight Renji and Rukia. So he rushes off to fight them, basically on James's behest, when he gets stopped by Hisagi. I swear Hisagi's like immortal or something. Although this is a bit silly because Hisagi he wraps Mask's leg in his chain. And he says, "Do you think you?" I like this bit though. Actually, he says, "Do you think you won just because you KO'd us?" And Mask pulls him by the chain, and then I think he clotheslines him, which looks very painful. He says, "Yeah, I do, pretty much," which is great. But that's a little stupid on Hisagi's part. That bit, based on what happens later. So I'll explain that later. And then Mask tries to basically step on Hisagi's head, which looks like it would cause it to explode like a watermelon or something. But before he can do that, this is well cool. I love this bit. Someone kind of like catches his foot with their foot, which is pretty impressive actually. And it's Kensei. I didn't see that coming at all actually, but I'm very glad it did. And you know, he's pretty pissed. He's like, you know, oh, if he'd not even shown the results of his training, what a pitiful vice captain. So that implies that Hisagi did achieve Bankai, and I think we could see it in the next chapter, maybe something like that. Kensei says that he's captain of the 9th Division, and Mask's like, I'm not going to fight you because I'm going towards some lights. And then Rose joins the fight as well, which at the moment I think is kind of pointless because he doesn't actually seem to do anything. Why isn't he fighting Basby yet? Unless Kubo's saving something like that. That has to happen, surely. But it's cool. Rose is one of my favourite captains, so it's really cool to see him there. And in typical Kensei fashion, he's like, I won't waste your time, and he goes Bankai straight away. Now that's great, because Tekken Tachikaze was totally trolled in the Arrancar arc. We saw him use it, and then he got off-screened by Wonder Ice. So it's really cool actually that Kubo's going back and showing him using it properly. Basically Mask jumps at him, takes off his mantle, and he does a drop kick. Look at the title page. And he hits Kensei with his drop kick, but Kensei seems to block it with his hand. And then you know his little axe things he has, it like goes into his hand and becomes a fist. Basically he punches Master Masculine straight in the stomach, and then there's like an outward burst of wind, and Mask is pretty much defeated. He has, you know, very overly exaggerated proportions and facial expressions and animations. He's very much a comedic character. But he's relatively, like, he's obviously very powerful, but he kind of, I wouldn't say he gets serious, but he's not just a comedy character. He reminds me a lot of Armstrong from FMA. He's like an evil Armstrong. And James is like, oh my god, Master ended up on the floor in one punch. Kensei picks him up, and he basically starts to explain what Tekken Tachikaze does. So we already know that Tachikaze makes things kind of burst out with wind. So his Bankai transfers that to his fists, and the bursting power continues to hit you endlessly as long as his fist is touching you. So that's really OP, actually, because well, I don't quite know why Mask Masculine hasn't exploded yet, to be honest. But basically, Kensei punches him again, and he's like, I'll blow you away. And basically, he sends Master Masculine flying into a building. I don't really know why Rose isn't doing anything. Why isn't he attacking James? But he's kind of just standing there, and he's like, nothing for me to do, I guess. So that was a bit lame. But Mask looks defeated, right? And James starts crying out to him. And Kensei's like, oh my god, the enemy's so pathetic, makes us look like a bad guy. But then you get the most interesting part of the chapter. And it's weird because Hisagi knows that you have to get rid of James first. And he starts cheering for Master Masculine. He's like, please stand up, superstar. But how does Hisagi know that? Because I'm certain Master Masculine one-shot them and snuck up on them. So I don't know how Hisagi actually knows that you're supposed to defeat James first. But yeah, that was interesting. That was really interesting. And then Master Masculine hulks the fuck up and he smacks Kensei into a building. And then he kicks Rose. Now, that was a bit of a shame. If they're both defeated, I'll be hugely disappointed, actually. Then you get this brilliant panel at the end where Master Masculine's actually got a pretty menacing smile, I think. And then James is on his shoulder as well, kind of like that. And we find out that Mask's S isn't the sneak, it isn't the strength, it's actually the superstar. And the audience's cheers are my power. That's the end of the chapter. And I believe that's the last chapter of Volume 62, but I don't know. So if this fight goes on for maybe 3-4 chapters, then 63 could be Mask, could be Kensei. Depends on the front cover, really. Or depends on who takes the centre stage, really. But yeah, that's the end of the chapter. So not a whole lot happens. It was a basic battle chapter. But I wasn't expecting it at all, actually, and I quite like that. I quite appreciate the fact that Kubo did something completely out of the left field, really. I wasn't expecting Kensei and Kensei and Rose to come in. But it was great because it gave us another chance to see Kensei's Bankai properly, which I really liked. I think we might see Hisagi's Bankai in this battle. Possibly next chapter, I think we might see that. We might see Rose's Bankai, but I kind of hope we don't. I really think that should be reserved for Basby after he obliterated Kira. That's just a fight that needs to happen. There's not a huge amount else to say. Master Masculine's power is relatively interesting, but James is a pretty big flaw, you would think. I mean, maybe no one thinks to attack him like we've seen, but if he does unless he has some kind of defense mechanism, if he gets defeated, then isn't Master Masculine kind of useless? Because Kensei kicked his ass in Bankai. I mean, I know Master Masculine's not in Volstendig, but Kensei did kick his ass in Bankai. So Kensei and Rose would have probably defeated him in Volstendig if he had no one cheering him on. And I almost reckon he's going to reveal that he has loads of little guys running around. That'd be great. That'd be hilarious if he had loads. If he had this this kind of parade with him. I think that'd be brilliant. I can actually see Mask surviving this battle, the whole thing. Just because he doesn't strike me as an inherently bad dude. Well, I don't know, but I don't know. But I think Rose needs to pull his shit together. He's one of my favourite captains, and he doesn't ever do anything. He always gets wasted, which is a huge shame, actually. But it was cool to see Kensei fight properly after being wrecked last time. Predictions for next week. Could see a Hisagi Bankai, I think. That's right. Why did I think Hisagi going after Mask was stupid? If he knew that James was the catalyst for Mask's power, which he apparently somehow did, why didn't he go after James when Mask was running off? But whatever. Whatever. Yeah, I can't really think of much else to say, to be honest, about this chapter. Panel of the week. There were some very impressive panels of Kensei and his Bankai, actually. There was the one of him releasing his Bankai, which looked cool. obviously look as cool as the first time he did it, although I think him being in a captain's uniform has some charm to it, actually. Then there was the one where the couple of panels where he punches Mask were awesome. But I think I'm going to have to give panel of the week to the final panel, where Mask reveals he's the superstar, because he has such a great expression on his face. And then you've got James, who's tiny in comparison, like on his shoulder, Yachiru style, punching the air. Great, I love it. I think they look brilliant together, actually. Mask is definitely growing on me. He's not really one of my favourites still, but as far as like a comedy character goes, he's actually pretty good. It's a little bit annoying that we don't get to find out about Kang and BG9's fates this week, because they are a couple of my favourite Snowmeter. And I just hope Kubo wouldn't just kill them off like that, because there's so much more they can do, really, I think. Still no word on Bambietta. And if Master Masculine is fairly preoccupied with this fight, then what are Renji and Rukia going to do? Unless, like, Rose and Kensei happen to get defeated and then Renji and Rukia show up, but I don't think that's going to happen. I honestly think, I think maybe what will happen now is Hisagi will Bankai and then he'll fight Mask for a little while and lose, and then Kensei will come back and win. Hopefully with a combo of Vizard, Mask and Bankai, that'd be awesome. But it's kind of Kensei's turn to win a fight. And like I said, I don't think Mask will die. But I think it's definitely Kensei's turn to actually win a fight and not get his ass handed to him. So yeah, that's basically it for this chapter, guys. I mean, it was a pretty short chapter, just a fighting chapter, really. So I'm going to drop an 8 on it for that reason. Let me know, though, what do you think of the chapter? What do you think of Master Masculine's the superstar power? What do you think of Tekken Tachikaze and his bursting fists ability? Do you think we're going to see Hisagi's Bankai next week? Or not necessarily next week, but just in general, fairly soon? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to my videos and give the video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. But yeah, that's it really for this week, guys. So I shall catch you next time. Until then, see you later.